So we've kind of touched on this before, but there's a new update. So we, of course, have to bring the news fresh and ready to all of our fans and supporters out there. All right. FIDE, a.k.a. the International Chess Federation, says players who have transitioned from male to female have, quote, no right to participate in women's events until the federation conducts, quote, further analysis and renders a final decision. So they have effectively banned transgender women from competing in women's chess events, pending further analysis.
Pissed about this? What's the sentiment?
Are you pissed?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are the sentiment.
Don't you feel injustice?
I'll say this. I wouldn't imagine there's a lot of transgender people getting upset about this, is there? Be that mad?
That's his answer.
We report the news here. You need to take a more solid
How
stand.
do you feel as a dude?
Transgender male.
Honestly, I feel indifferent about it. Is that bad to say?
Why?
Because you don't.
I'm not really
chess?
attached. I'm not attached to the chess. Oh, I just imagine like.
You don't think chess is a sport, do you?
No, I think chess is dope, but isn't it chess like
Mental.
Well, here's the
not
question.
mental,
Yeah,
but
here's the question.
is it intergender? No.
And answer this: Do you believe that men have an inherent advantage over women at chess?
I don't
That's
think
the
so.
question.
I wouldn't imagine there would be.
No, there is those things.
There is.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
That's why there's a.
Oh, so they do have separate divisions.
Yeah.
they do.
Oh, I didn't know that.
For real? Is it because of statistics or someone just said so?
No, it's actually a
stats.
thing. Yeah.
Really? Well, then, yeah,
There's
that's
an
fair then.
example of a. I think there was already an example of someone coming in and identifying as a female, as a clear
There's a dude who
Yeah.
wasn't even trans. He just said he identified.
But he got inside the competition.
What's the proven difference between men and women playing chess as far as
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
I wouldn't.
the advantage?
Because when I hear that, I wouldn't imagine there would be a difference. But if there's a statistical
Yeah,
difference,
Yeah,
then-
my question is, one, what is the difference? Two, how did they even come up with the difference? Like, how is the study actually
they got more
developed?
grooves in their brain, probably.
Isn't it like when they have like co-ed tournaments, it's always a dude that wins them or what?
Yeah, but also it's like, you know how they time.
That's what I'm thinking too. I think that's the same reason why less women win darts.
Right.
I think more dudes just play fucking darts.
If you're a girl that plays darts, like most, that's probably hard to find like a girl.
I don't know. So
Gambit was a hit because of that, though, right? She came in and rocked like all the men who were basically the dominating.
Was that based on a real story?
In
Queen's
the
Gambit?
recorded history of chess, world champions have always been male, not female. Further, there is currently only one woman in the top 100 chess players in the world. So I think it was.
And she now identifies as a man, so.
Really?
I don't know if it's a like they found a
She's like, why
clear
am I so
genetic.
That's my guy.
I don't think there is.
It's the results that where they're where the dominance is. It's just not because it's like proven like men are just better at logic and strategy games.
So this is just the system they
It's
created.
just the ratio.
Yeah.
For the most part, most women don't play chess.
That's lame.
Apparently, according to different types of articles that I'm not citing specifically, males dominate the chess scene in rankings and population, but not because they're just more intelligent in that sense. Instead, the influences that affect the imbalance in chess demographics can be attributed to biological, psychological, social, economic, and cultural factors.
Sure.
Men designed chess for men. Historically, chess was dominated by men because it represented a physical battle. It was invented when physical combat was commonplace in warfaring countries. Men would strategize and fight while women stayed at home where it was safer.
There's chess and boxing tournaments where people box and they play chess at the same time.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's a different part of your brain.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more
it's-
males than females play chess. We've already talked about that racially. Ratio.
Racially.
Dominance in chess can mean more than one thing. While the numbers and statistics show male dominance in chess, dominance should be defined. It doesn't necessarily mean better. It just means there are more males playing chess than females. However, gender equality is causing a shift in the demographic ratios represented in chess.
I think the more they do it, it's just like gaming. Like in video games, there weren't as many good girls, but now that a lot of girls are streaming and shit, you get to see that there actually are more and more every day. Like there's just better ones.
The real answer is probably like nobody's smarter than anyone. It's just numbers based off of those things.
yeah, I don't know. I think in this case, I would be okay if females sign up for the male competitions because there hasn't been a overwhelmingly disadvantage on if a girl comes through. So then that's like she's actually going up against odds. Whereas like on the flip side, he would have a disadvantage, like a advantage. So that he would be putting his opponents at a disadvantage. So that would be an unfair advantage if a pro chess player comes in.
Well, I think it would just be like men and women at the same ranking. Chess players should play together.
Yeah.
But I guess according to this, like there hasn't been females at the same rank until the pool gets bigger and they can compete at the same level. So then, yeah, I think like it's fair on the flip side if it's and then they have to have a track record too. So if they're just an amateur, like an amateur guy that doesn't even play chess, he should be able to sign up because then he's gonna get dominated.
So
yeah.
a transgender male or female should just be able to enter. Why are they banning it? That's the weird.
Well, they could possibly be like, if we don't ban this, then it opens up the door to like physical sports and other things and that conversation. So, I don't know.
I don't know.
Also, maybe women don't want it. Maybe that could because it's in their division.
A big enough fight for the women to.
Yeah, it's like with that thing that happened where some guy said he was a woman and he entered an all-women poker tournament and just decimated everybody. It's like but then the point was is that the women have their own division because they just want to do it with all
Play it by themselves.
You know, it's like that was the whole point of making it. It wasn't that they were worse or better. It was just like we just don't want guys guying up the place.
Like they wanted a girls' club.
Yeah, it's like fair, cool. You should be able to have that if you want it. But then, if you do that, then that's no longer what they.
But that was more of like we created this thing. It wasn't like a tournament where it was like ranked and.
It was for a pot. It was like a tournament for money as a prize, but.
Are you allowed to do it on the flip side though, and just have like a gentleman's poker tournament thing, and it's no girls allowed or whatever? Is that
people do that all the time?
Yeah, you just make it
Can
ranked.
you do?
You just say no girls outside.
Yeah, just put a sign.
No girls allowed.
No girls allowed. This is a boys' club only.
The National Center for Transgender Equality, an advocacy group based in the U.S., criticized the decision.
Of course.
They said, really, chess? This is so insulting to cis women, to trans women, and to the game itself. It assumes that cis women couldn't be competitive against cis men and relies on ignorant anti-trans ideas.
Well, here's the thing is like, I know they have men's leagues and then women's leagues now, based on this article. But do they ever have a mixed league? Like, what does that look like? Does that happen?
I heard that makes them. It's like insulting.
It's insulting
because they're like, nah, I'm just as man as you are.
Yeah.
You know. Well, and then it's like, so they don't want to be Special Olympics because they don't see it as like I'm not.
Right. That's fair because in their head that's just a man. Even if it's a transgender man, it's like.
No, I'm not even thinking. I'm sorry, I should rephrase that, but I'm not even thinking
You're talking
about.
about more the game.
Just more of like the actual sport.
Like a free for all, like.
Like, do they do that often where it's just a co-ed tournament where it's men and women and they just go and they just see?
Well, I think the reason why there's a women's league is so that women can participate in the sports, or else they'll never be allowed in it. Like they won't rank.
Yeah.
Most sports in most.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying that if they just did a hey guy girl whatever you are, you can all enter. I think that'll just end up with all guys. That's the problem. It's like if you just did hey everybody we're gonna do dunk contest. Anybody's available.
But obviously with things that are more mental, like say poker, right? Because when they have the World Series of Poker.
Wait, are you comparing chess to poker as far as the mental capacity?
Well, as far as like, there's no physical element, right? There's no.
Okay,
I don't have to box somebody out and like dunk on anybody. You know what I mean? Like as far as like
taller guys have an advantage.
Yeah. Like because when they do the World Series of Poker, it's co-ed, no? It's like men and women.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, but there hasn't been.
But the final table is still mostly guys.
Oh, I see.
No, I'm pretty sure there's tournaments where there are co-ed players playing.
All games
Yeah.
are co-ed.
Yeah.
Because it's just about the buy-in.
Yeah, okay.
But then there hasn't been a person yet, like female, that's won the World Series.
For sure. But I think over time that'll change, right? Like
for sure.
What I would say, I would argue, is because there's not a lot of women, so the pool's small.
Right.
Not because like women can't play.
Totally.
They have a different style of play, and I've played against solid female, like Nikki. Like she's a great player. So it's like, I think it's like it just depends.
Because in my head I'm like, why don't they just do that for chess? Right?
I think that's the thing. It's like if they do that, then statistically the women will be knocked out way sooner.
And that's fine, but as time goes on, right? Then as the popularity grows and more women, because I think it's just more of a global exposure thing. It's like if more people play chess and more people see like, oh, this is an avenue where I could do this, then it'll allow more people to be like, oh, and maybe more women would be like, oh, maybe I'll do this later in life.
I thought
think
women's
that would be sick if
sports.
they did
I
that.
thought women's sports and women's like leagues and all that. It started because of women to protect separate, like, you know.
Yeah.
And the whole
Have a
point
space.
was, for them to be able to participate and enjoy it and have their own leagues and all that. And I thought that, that was the original, like, goal. But then if you make it all co-ed, then it does make it so they can't.
Well, it's the difference between
That's true.
the mentality of a sport and the physicality of a sport, right? Like, so something like chess and poker, there's no physicality involved.
Your face.
So like my whole thing is like,
Right, but we're talking about like in comparison to like football or soccer or something, you know?
because I think there's a
So-
world where it could all exist, right? Men divisions, women divisions, and then co-ed divisions. Like, because I'm sure there's some gangster chicks that are like, yo, I want to fucking compete against the boys. I want to see how good I am.
Right.
So why not, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the easy fix, don't you think? Or am I just tripping?
Maybe it does. It already exists.
I think
So one is just anybody division.
Yeah.
I think they already exist. I think the conversation is now in a new gray area of inclusivity to transgender people or people who are identifying as a specific one.
For sure. Yeah, I get
And
it.
I think that conversation opens up the door to other sports.
Oh, well, other sports, like for example,
Like,
if I-
because marathon is co-ed, Spartan race, like all those.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
But the thing is, when you're signing up for that, you're already choosing to sign up for the co-ed division. Now that the conversation is, what about the people who were born one way, choosing to identify the other, and then going into that individual category?
That's the
And then
difference.
they go
Yeah.
into co-ed. They can just go into co-ed.
So that's why, for example, World Aquatics, which we've talked about here before as well, has recently launched a new open category which will welcome swimmers of all sex and gender identities in order to address that particular thing. Where they also voted to restrict most transgender athletes from competing in elite women's aquatics competitions last year. You know what I'm saying? So they're trying to address the issue, and as a result, are creating new spaces to allow this really unique new. Not saying transgender is like new, but like the conversation about it and how it's
At least in sports, right?
exactly
Yep.
physically dominated sports.
Because we want fairness is a big topic in any type of sport, right? You want to make sure that all platforms are fair to a degree. So, yeah, I think creating a new division or a division that
For chess, it's like just do co-ed.
But that's the
put it all in
touch. The
one.
touchy part of it is as simple as the bathrooms. It's like if they're saying we didn't want an all-gender restroom, we wanted to use the men's restroom. Then what can you say?
right.
So I don't know, fucking tough shit, dude.